news, right? Okay. So I wanted to talk about this topic today because I feel like there's misconceptions around not hitting our calories. Like if we stay under our calories, then that's gonna like speed up our weight loss. So I wanted to talk about the effects of on weight loss of under eating. And so I want to preface this by saying that whenever I program your guys' calories, like if you're in a fat loss phase, I'm always doing like a moderate calorie deficit, plus we're focusing on steps. So when you eat that number of calories, let's say it's like 1800, for example, you're still in a calorie deficit and you're still going to see weight loss. Dropping it lower than that is kind of detrimental, actually, as far as weight loss goes. And so we're going to talk about some of the reasons why. So, under eating is often mistakenly believed to help accelerate weight loss, but it can actually have the opposite effect and hinder fat loss progress. So one of the things that people who chronically undereat or chronically diet or like diet year round, year after year, one of the things that can happen is their metabolism slows down. So when you eat too few calories for an extended period of time, your body adapts by slowing down your metabolism to conserve energy. This is known as adaptive thermogenesis, and it makes weight loss more difficult over time as your body becomes more efficient at using fewer calories. Our bodies will also do this really weird thing where it will just like literally slow us down. So people who are typically like hand talkers, they will do that less. People who are like fidgeters, they will do that less. People who normally like to, be active throughout the day, like get outside, go do yard work, play with your kids, like you might naturally just start to kind of like, I'm just gonna sit on the couch. So our body has all these like protective mechanisms, and slowing our metabolism is one of those because we are wired like prehistorically where, think of like cavemen, and it was like your body, you never knew where you were when you were going to get food or, shoot a saber-toothed tiger or whatever. So our body just has these like automatic things that happen to protect us. One of the other detrimental things is that it can cause muscle loss. When you undereat, your body may break down muscle tissue to use for energy, especially if you're not consuming enough protein or doing resistance training. So that's one of the reasons why I have you guys tracking calories and protein specifically. Those two are the things that matter the most. In terms of not losing muscle or being able to like build muscle while you're in a dieting phase. Losing muscle mass reduces your resting metabolic rate since muscle burns more calories at rest than fat. This leads to fewer calories burned daily, making fat loss harder. It can lead to hormonal imbalances. Prolonged undereating can disrupt important hormones that regulate hunger, metabolism, and fat storage. Something that I hear commonly is people aren't hungry for breakfast. And to me, that's a red flag. That tells me your hormones are not where they're supposed to be. And the only way to kind of get things back on track is to eat. Even if you're like, I haven't eaten breakfast in 10 years, I have a coffee and then I make it all the way through my lunch. If you're one of those people, I want you to bust out of that story that you're telling yourself that you're not a breakfast eater. And I want you to just focus on something really small, 200 to 300 calories, higher in protein, and eventually these more consistent meals throughout the day are going to get your hormones back online. So leptin is a hormone responsible for signaling fullness. When leptin levels drop due to underfeeding, you feel hungrier and are more likely to overeat when you do eat. Ghrelin is the hunger hormone, which increases during periods of extreme calorie restriction, making you feel more ravenous. Thyroid hormones regulate metabolism, and when you undereat, thyroid hormone production decreases, leading to sluggish metabolism. It can also cause nutrient deficiencies. Extreme calorie restriction can lead to deficiencies in essential nutrients like vitamins, minerals, and healthy fats. These nutrients are crucial for energy production, fat metabolism, and overall health. Without adequate nutrients, your body may struggle to perform the necessary functions for effective fat loss. It can cause increased fat storage. When your body senses that it's not getting enough food, it may enter into starvation mode, where it tries to hold on to fat stores as a survival mechanism. This can make your body more efficient at storing fat when you do eat, further hindering fat loss. Again, this is like that caveman, cavewoman, um, the way that our bodies are made to protect us and preserve, because again, they did not know when they were getting their next big influx of calories, so their bodies just kind of go into this protective mode. Now, I do have a little caveat that I want to add here. I get very irritated when I see fitness influencers online talk about starvation mode and say that you have to eat more to lose weight. And I want to first start out by saying that the reduction in metabolism can make fat loss slower, but it doesn't stop it entirely. So if we think about someone who was a prisoner of war or anybody that's been through any kind of a starvation, like I think about like the Holocaust camps, at some point you're still your body's going to take energy where it needs to. So it's going to start taking it from fat stores, muscle, organs. Um, your metabolic rate will still continue to decrease, but at some point it's still going to keep taking those stores for energy. So when people say that you have to eat more to lose, what they really mean is that if someone is like chronically under eating, like let's say they feel like they can only eat like 1,000 calories a day, um, honestly, like, well, their first of all, their metabolism is downregulated, but then there's a good chance because that's such an unsustainable amount of calories to eat that they're overdoing it other days of the week. So, like, they might make it to Friday eating 1,000 calories a day, but then on Saturday, Sunday, they're eating like 3,000 calories a day because they're starving. So, um, one of the reasons why after a dieting phase, I'll have you guys do something called a reverse diet is so that we can slowly start to bring your calories back up after a dieting period because we are not meant to eat super, super low calories forever. It's a means for fat loss, but doing it too long is not good for us because of all the things that we're talking about now. Um, what you guys will end up doing is we'll end your diet phase and then we do something called a reverse diet where every week or every other week we're adding 100 to 200 calories and we're increasing your calories to your new maintenance calories because if you're a smaller body, you don't need the same amount of calories as you once ate. So we'll have to find that new number. What's awesome is your body fat composition, your muscle and your body fat ratio will stay the same, but you're able to eat more food. You're also able to work out much harder because you're going to have more fuels coming in, build more muscle, therefore increasing your metabolic rate even more. So increasing your calories and increasing your muscle mass will also increase your metabolism. And I don't know if you guys saw my post last night about how I went from eating 1,500 calories to now I can eat 2,800 calories. It's because over the course of the last 2 years, I've been slowly building more muscle, slowly increasing my calories. So my body composition's kind of stayed the same, but I've been able to eat more food, if that makes sense to you guys. But, we don't want to diet at however many calories and then just like live there forever. Because you can keep your same body composition with being able to eat more food. Also, under eating causes a lot of mental and physical fatigue. In your weekly check-ins, I'm asking you guys about your biofeedback, your stress, your sleep, your digestion, your poops. All tell me if we're ready to be done dieting. If those things week after week and you've been dieting for like 8, 9, 10 weeks, if those are starting to turn negative, then we know like, okay, your body is signaling to you that it's time for us to be done with the diet phase and we're going to reverse diet so that you can get some more fuel. Um, but for people who are chronic undereaters, it leaves them both feeling both mentally and physically fatigued. Your energy goes down, your workouts start to suck, less movement throughout the day. That non-exercise activity thermogenesis, that's or thermogenesis, the NEAT is all that fidgeting and the extra moving around that you do all day long. That actually ends up being a pretty big calorie expenditure, but that will decrease. And then it increases your risk of binge eating, like I mentioned, like if someone is trying to undereat significantly. Sometimes what happens is like they just lose self-control over certain types of food that they've labeled off limits, or Saturday, Sunday rolls around and their bodies are crying out for more food. Um, they lose a little bit of control when they finally do get around food. So this can create a cycle of overeating or binge eating, and then the feelings of guilt, shame that surround that. And then what a lot of people do is come Monday, they like start over back with the super restrictive dieting, and that's where we get the term yo-yo dieting from. Okay, so what can we do? Well, first of all, we can track our food, right? Because we need to know, trying to move this thing out of the way here. Oh, shoot. Oh, shoot. What did I do? Let me start over. Sorry, guys, I just lost it. We got to track our food so that we actually know what our true calorie intake is. And then again, like I have you guys set at a certain amount of calories on purpose because I know it's your calorie deficit. So we're still going to see progress. So I want you guys to try to hit those numbers as often as you can. Um, Ensure you're consuming in a moderate calorie deficit that supports fat loss. Okay, so we check that box. That's what's in your app or my Fitness Pal. Prioritize nutrient-dense food that provide essential vitamins, minerals, and protein to support your body's functions and muscle mass. Incorporate resistance training to build and preserve muscle mass, which helps maintain a healthy metabolism. Check that box. Pay attention to hunger cues and avoid extreme restriction that could lead to overeating later on. And then for people who just don't feel hungry, like I mentioned, like people who are like, I just cannot eat breakfast and I wake up and I'm not hungry. We have to start somewhere by just incorporating smaller, more frequent meals and just kind of force ourselves to eat to get our hormones regulated once again. Um, okay, I'm gonna stop sharing and open it up to any questions anyone has.
How long does it take to get into that the starvation kind of thing? Like, I guess I'm just worried because of me not feeling well and I'm not eating very much right now.
No, it will take much longer. You'll be okay. Like a short-term illness or I guess like I don't think injury, but illness, yeah. 1 or 2 weeks, you'll be fine. This is like chronic, like we're talking like 8 months, a year, more than that of just chronic undereating. You'll be good. Um, and I know like in your check-ins, I will like look at food logs with you guys and just like provide like little tips and tricks on how to just bump up your calories. A lot of times people get overwhelmed thinking about like what to add, when in reality, what we can just do is just make our portion sizes a little bit bigger. Specifically, protein is one that's just harder for people to hit for whatever reason. And maybe it's just because we're just not used to eating that much. Um, and sometimes it's a matter of like, instead of having one egg at breakfast, have two or three or add some egg whites to it. Um, instead of having half a cup of Greek yogurt, have one full cup of Greek yogurt or have a half cup of Greek yogurt in the morning and a half cup of Greek yogurt in the afternoon for snacks. Um, but yeah, I think so many people think that we just have to keep eating less and less and less and less. And sometimes people get to a point where they're not even a candidate for being like dieting at all because the amount of calories that we would have to drop them to is like not a healthy amount, for someone that is eating 1,400 calories a day and they're not seeing any progress. Their metabolism has down-regulated so much that, I mean, what are we going to have them eat like 900 calories? Like that's just not sustainable. So what we have to do first is reverse diet, then go into like dieting. So there's ways to help and fix it. It's not like you're broken forever, but it'll take a little bit of work and um thankfully none of you guys are in that situation. So, but yeah, I just wanted to kind of bring awareness to it because in check-ins I do notice like there's some days where we're just kind of under eating and just so that it doesn't turn into like a major habit. Your bodies need the fuel for your workouts and recovery. So we just need to stay on top of that. That makes sense, you guys. Okay. Any questions related to the app, to any of your lifts or workouts or tracking macros or anything in between? Okay. Well, then we'll call it an early night. If any questions do pop up later, just shoot me a message. But I will also share this recording with everybody so that you guys can take another look at it if you want to.